Welcome everybody to the first ever Halo Halo Productions Flavor of the Month. I am Mick, one of the members of Halo Halo, and this month, November 2023, we are featuring White Lady. White Lady is a 6.5 minute horror comedy short about unrequited love and revenge. It follows a young man haunted by the ghost of his ex-fiance in their place of employment. The film itself was released first for the Run and Gun Film Competition back in 2022 and garnered some success, winning a few awards as well, which we'll hear more about. But before we get into that, I want to welcome all our guests today. How about you three gentlemen introduce yourselves?
Hey, my name is Marc. I'm the director for White Lady.
Here, I'll go. Hey, my name is Carlo Fortin, and I was an actor on The White Lady.
Hey, I'm Paolo Valdez. I helped write White Lady.
Cool. And I think probably for the context of some people who are listening who probably aren't Filipino, we want to probably get this cleared up already. What is a white lady?
Paolo?
Well, White Lady is a folklore story about a bride who is like left at her wedding and basically haunts people. So there was a really, I don't know, I was writing a feature that dealt with Filipino folklore. So I kind of was already in that mindset of like researching and studying different folklores, right? And the White Lady is one that actually kind of like is a folklore that transcends just Filipino culture. There's like a White Lady in many different cultures. I think a lot of people are scared of the scorned woman left at the altar, which again, like looking into that history of the folklore was quite interesting. So I thought it would be really funny, and also Marc and I were joking about just the name. A lot of people thought like with the title being White Lady, it was going to be a story about like a Karen or something. But we wanted to kind of show more of our culture and traditions, and we just want to have something like that was fun, and as much as it was scary, there was a lot of humor to it too. So that was, yeah, for us, that was kind of what brought White Lady out.
Cool. So to be clear, the white part of the white lady refers to the white wedding dress.
Yes.
Yes, not to the color of her
Not the
skin.
color, no. I mean, they could be, white. Like, that doesn't matter. It's about like the representation of the bride that was left at the altar. That's the White Lady.
Totally.
But
But also,
they
like,
would
I
have
guess,
to
like,
like have died in that story, I guess, for
yeah.
them to like haunt the whoever for revenge.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it could also be like the paleness of a dead person. I mean, yes, a lot of it is the bridal dress, but whenever you think of a ghost, you don't think of a nicely tanned ghost, right? So, I think there is a possibility that the White Lady was also the paleness of death, but yeah.
Right. So take us back a little bit here from how the whole idea came to be. So the film was made for the Run and Gun Film Festival, which is a Vancouver-based festival that challenges filmmakers to make a film from pretty much page zero or page one all the way to completing the film in 48 hours, right?
Yeah.
So where did the whole idea come? And I mean, 48 hours, I think for anybody would be a pretty short time to make a film.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to actually me and Carlo. We worked on something together for the first time. Like, it was a stunt reel. It was a stunt demo for him, and I helped shoot it. And we just kind of like, oh, he told me that he has his warehouse that we're shooting, that he has access to and stuff like that. And like, oh, yo, that's so sick. And months later, Carlo was wanting to like get into the indie world.
Yeah, I'd never done running gun before.
Yeah, he wants to do more projects and stuff like that. I'm like, damn, I want to direct because normally I'm a DOP, and this would be something to get my feet wet because it's hard to get a project off the ground normally, and I think, and then me and Paolo, we were already working on something together before that. We were um, coming up with some ideas. We still have those ideas, but this time I was like, "Yo, I need to do something for Run and Gun, and it's gonna be hard." Uh, I don't think Paulo had was ready for how short the whole thing is supposed to be, like in terms of like conception to submission, and that was a good challenge. So, I mean, we had some. It wasn't cheating, but it was more like I guess we definitely had to plan something before going in. Um, so that white lady was kind of he brought to me like a couple stories. I don't know, a few stories, and then this is the one that kind of resonated with me. I'm like, yeah, that'd be good, like, and then, but I didn't want to make something super serious, so I thought like, hey, I love Key and Peele, I love the whole like playing it straight, but it's like funny and then comedic and then horrifying is that's at the same time. Like maybe we can do something about this, and yeah, that's how it kind of started. You know.
With the whole run and gun process, right? Like they go live and they make you pick a couple things to kind of keep things, you know, well, I guess like keeping it, making sure that like there's like a what was it, an item that has to be used.
Yeah.
Um, what
A
was the other
prop,
two?
a line, and a theme.
Exactly.
Right.
So like we knew that we could pivot. Like if we had like a plot of sort, or not a plot, but like a story that we kind of wanted to use, we can pivot and put like a prop in there, use that line, right? So
Mhm.
there was like, and we didn't do a lot of preconception. We had a couple of things like, I love the fact that like Marc came over. We ordered what some Japanese food. We were like,
Mhm.
we were actually like, there was an excitement too because I have done actually a 72-hour horror film festival before, so I did know what that sort of process was of having to jump in something really quickly and like pivot. But when they went live and we're watching it, and we already kind of were like, okay, like we have a location, right? Like Carlo said, we can use a warehouse. So we're like, okay, at least like for that, we kind of know um, we have a placement of where we can shoot, right? So it was a matter of kind of like throwing in the story in those parameters, right? So when they went live with like, okay, this is the line, this is that. I love the fact that like both of us kind of like jumped to it. You know what I mean? Like we looked at each other, we were like, all right, fuck it, let's go, right? And when we started kind of working that process out into the story,
Yeah,
it,
we didn't write it till after we found out about the
yeah,
elements. But
What
we
were
were
those
lucky.
elements?
Well, the elements were, I think the prop was a shovel, and then the line was, um,
This
that's
is
the
what
stuff.
blank
That's
is
the
made of.
blank. That's the stuff that blanks are made of. That's the
yeah,
line. But then we got lucky with the theme. The theme was urban legend. So
Oh,
when we found that out, we were like high fiving each other. Yo, this is
yeah.
sick! Like,
We were literally
this
jumping
is
each
what we're gonna do,
other.
man. Like, this is perfect. And then that was pretty much, yeah. I mean, the start of it, and then we wrote from like, I don't know, from 7 p.m. to like, I think I went home like around 1 a.m. So it was quite a long night for me because I had to get up the next day and start this production. But like working behind the scenes, I had Jory Estremadura. Shout out to Jory. He was the one of the producer. I mean, me and him, we produced it together. He was kind of the one working behind the scenes, make sure we have like our lunch and crafty. Um, yeah, and then yeah, before that we grabbed crafty before I went to Paolo's house. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was the beginning.
so it took about 5 hours to write the script.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's a
Pretty
lot
good.
harder. It's a lot harder than what you would think. Yeah,
And then you're still finding stuff on the day,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
Right. Like
100%.
say how many of the I'm skipping ahead a little bit in terms of how the film was made, but like how much of the original script Or how much did you add to the original script when you were shooting?
How much?
Like, how different is the final product from the
Well,
Um,
original script?
I don't speak Tagalog, so
mhm.
there was a lot of stuff that we were like kind of like placeholders and going, okay, like this would have to be said in Tagalog. You know what I mean? Where right off the cuff, it was like we knew where certain things had to be like, but I don't have the ability to write in Tagalog, so it's kind of like
Yeah,
as
I
much
had to
as like
take the lead on the whole Tagalog thing.
yeah
But I guess how different it is from the script, it's not too different. It's pretty on there. They're just little like Easter eggs that if you watch it, um
Pick up on.
you might pick up on it. I don't know if I should tell you if you want to know what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
It's I mean, just I say
spoiler alert.
this is spoiler alert, I guess. Spoiler alert.
yeah, we're gonna tell everybody to watch the film. So if you haven't watched the film yet, watch it and then just come back to this time code.
Yeah.
Spoiler
So
alert here.
basically, after the whole like scare and then we're in the aftermath sort of with the scene with the detective, I let Lissa, shout out to Lissa Neptuno who played the white lady. I had her like walk in the background of when we were like with in each of the shots of the detective. So like it's kind of like she's haunting the place.
Oh no
Yeah.
way.
That was not in the script. I was trying to like, oh, that'd be hilarious and it'll be an Easter egg. It'd be fun to do.
Some
And
people see it, some people don't.
yeah,
I
but
watched
they
it like
they
5
did
times.
notice
I didn't
like
see that.
during
Yeah.
the screening, the world premiere, I guess, at Running Gun, people would tell me like, "Oh my god, I saw the white lady in the background. That was funny." Yeah, so that
Yeah.
was kind of one of the things that kind of was different, just to make it a little bit more fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Were
I
there
was
other?
actually I was so sad that like I wasn't actually able to be there for the filming because it was my cousin's wedding and I was in the groom's party, right? So
Yeah.
uh, I remember like whenever I had a chance, like which was not very often throughout the wedding, but like I think I messaged Mark as much as I could and just be like, hey, how's everything going? And just knowing that there was a time crunch, but also knowing that like what I've seen Mark do behind the camera, I just knew that it was going to be magical, like because he is so skillful that that transition from like being a DOP to being a director was going to be seamless for him, and how the project turned was just like it was. I was so happy when he showed it, like when I got out of the wedding and he showed me the cut, and Carlo just killed it. Like
Yeah.
when I saw Carlo as the character and like just the little nuances that he brought to the table, it was so fucking beautiful, and I was like, I was just so happy to see that, and like, and with Lisa and the rest of the cast, was like Mark really, man, like you really just put together like such a beautiful like thing in such a short period of time, and with those little Easter eggs too, it just like it made things pop, it was a fun project, and we didn't know how far it would go or what it would become, but we just knew that there was passion behind it, and
Also,
Mark
like
really,
to add, obviously, this is a 6.5 minute cut for what it is now. Well, when we released White Lady for Running Gun, it was 4.5 minutes.
Right.
So it was there was a lot of material that was left in the cutting board
Yeah.
around that time. But I knew that, so I kind of like sort of over filmed in a way because I knew what I needed to have these sort of moments to kind of really polish it later on. So like it was kind of like a I don't know what's the word premonition. So I can have like more material to work with later on, and that was pretty good experience.
So most people who are going to see this are going to see the 6.5 minute cut. So
Yeah, no one's gonna see the 4.5 minute cut. That one's just for Running Gun.
what are the stuff that didn't make it in the original film? Like what are the 2 minutes? What 2 minutes did you get rid of? Just because I know everyone's gonna have watched
Just
this film already.
a lot of it is pacing.
mm,
It's slower. It's not as rushed. You can we're holding on to like cuts and shots and
Yeah, the tension buildup.
yeah. tension build up. There was a character that we left out, Phil Planta. That's Phil.
Oh yeah, Phil
He
made the cutting
wasn't
board for the
at the
running gun
beginning
cut.
at all for the 4.5 minute cut. Now he is.
Hoi Page.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the
And we took some time on him getting that Tagalog right.
Yeah. That was pretty fun to work with Phil on that.
Yeah.
He was pretty open on learning and saying it,
Properly, yeah, to nail it.
yeah, nail it. I
Yeah,
think he killed it. Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
for people who might be watching this that don't know Phil, like he's so instrumental in like I think a lot of our projects or our careers. Like Phil Planta is such a gem. Like he is so helpful in trying to boost like the Filipino film community. So for him to kind of make a little like guest spot was so cool that Marc like got him from Phil loves to be behind the scenes and help, in doing all the back end stuff. And for him to kind of be like an actor in our project was kind of cool. It was like, I don't know how much Marc had to do like to convince him because I don't think I've ever seen Phil really act.
I don't think I didn't do much to convince him. I just kind of like, hey, do you want to play this character? And he was down to do it. Phil likes to be on set. He loves indie filmmaking. He doesn't always want to produce, so this was kind of a fun thing for him, just to be around, Filipino filmmakers that are like just kind of making their way. And it was really fun. It was fun, and obviously it was shot by Peter Planta, our DOP. Shout out to Peter. Yeah,
Who's Phil's cousin?
it's Phil's cousin. Yeah,
Yeah.
A little family connection there.
yeah.
So you can't have a Filipino production unless somebody's related inside of it.
Yeah. Nepotism? No, just kidding.
Okay, so started on Friday night, 7 p.m. Was it just you and Paolo, Marc and Paolo just writing it for 5 hours?
Yeah.
And then how did you? I'm assuming you started shooting it the day after, like the morning.
Yeah,
after,
we started the next day around 9 a.m.
So how did you get your team together? I know this wasn't the biggest team. It's actually kind of impressive that you guys had such a small team to shoot this. So how did you bring the team together in such a quick time to get them to show up the next morning already?
Faith. A lot of it is faith, and it's people that we worked with in the past. So, and they're already part of the circle of our own little indie tribe filmmaking. And we did, like, obviously we had because we had to get the wedding dress and stuff like that. That was already like preconceived beforehand.
Yeah, whose wedding dress was that?
I think
found it.
I think Cassandra, our costume designer, which is her first time actually, Cassandra Guevara Clark, is her first time costume designing. I had to do a lot of convincing to convince her to come on board, and
that
it
was
actually
her first
happened.
Time doing costumes?
Yeah, and it happened
Really?
on your shoot actually, Mick. The Victoria I know, that was when I was asking her about it. I'm like, she was like, no, I don't want to do it. I think I've never done it before, and then I had to like get help from Tammy just to kind of convince her to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it worked out. She did a great job. Yeah. Yeah.
But you found that dress, I guess, just thrifting, or
I think so.
Tammy's help, I'm assuming.
So. Yeah. I don't know. I don't care. She did it. Kudos to her. It was all her. Yeah, I'm not attached to whatever. Yeah, all the costumes are with her. I don't know where everything else is.
That's pretty impressive. It's just like within hours, it's just like, yo, I got a wedding dress.
Yeah,
she got the job done for sure on the costume side for sure.
Yeah, and like I knew the warehouse was already pretty decked out. We didn't really need much. That's what I love about the warehouse that we were shooting in.
Mm-hmm.
That it's already like ready. It's like it's lived in. You don't need to do much set dressing or whatever.
That's fair.
So that kind of helps. I don't have to worry about that because a lot of how films look will kind of like live or die by that the art department and production design.
Totally.
Yeah.
Shout out to Carlo's. Yeah, Carlo,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
a warehouse man. It's
Yeah.
at this point, your warehouse is legendary.
Yeah,
Legendary.
it's true.
Absolutely.
And like it's only in the last like year and a half, but like there's been so many projects already that we've shot there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely
Pretty
Yes,
much
sir.
pretty much all my projects have been there. Like
Yeah,
it's true. Upstairs, downstairs. Yeah,
upstairs, downstairs, everywhere, just shooting
yeah,
the shit out of that
yeah,
yeah,
location. Yeah.
yeah. 100%.
yeah. Carlo, your location is yeah, really, it's like having a canvas that is like already set for like almost anything. So,
Yeah,
and was
it's
that
a
the
true
first time
blessing.
you did
What's
anything
that?
there? That was Mark. That was the first time
No,
you
I don't
no,
know.
you've worked there
Not
before.
I mean not Carlos shot his projects there before.
Yeah.
Oh no, but Mark, was that the first time you shot there or
Yes,
no?
that was the first time. Oh, well, actually
That
no.
film. Well, we did the stunt reel there.
Yeah, the stunt reel was
Oh,
there.
sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
we
I
did the
already
stunt reel.
knew the layout. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
shit, this is sick.
So
Okay.
between the stunt reel and White Lady, and even to today, 2013, that warehouse has been what used as a bachelor's party, as an office, as a warehouse, as a
Yep.
what else?
2023, Mick.
Or
2023. Yeah, sorry.
as a
A
production
beauty
house,
pageant.
beauty
Yeah.
pageant stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and more to come, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You guys just gotta start spinning a wheel or something. Be all right. What's next?
I
Basketball.
think we're doing a good
Literally.
job of like not making it I guess familiar. I mean, it's gotta feel fresh with every movie.
Totally.
But I think part of that is like, I don't want to be pessimistic or anything, but people don't usually care. It's so like the projects are like far in between.
Yeah.
From each other, so it's like people won't remember.
Totally.
Yeah.
I just watched this documentary called Yellow Door. I don't know if you guys watched it, but it's about the Korean indie market, like with Boone and all those guys,
Hmm.
and back in like the 80s. And like what this group is doing feels very much like that, like this organic sort of like community. And Carlo, like his like warehouse is kind of like the home now.
The hub.
It's like because it talks about like like how when you have like a film crew or like people who just want to create any tool that people come with, it's like or location, it boosts like the community. And like I really can feel that there's a community that's brewing now, with Mick as well. Like, like you've been a part of so many projects. Like when you're looking at this kind of like nucleus of creatives, it's like it's all coming from like this like group of people who are passionate.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch Yellow Door if you guys haven't. It's really cool because
Mhm.
you guys are all doing what we're doing. It really reflects that,
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I feel it does feel like something special. I think even I had a conversation with Phil just recently, just thinking about where we had like this Christmas party back in 2019, so 4 years ago from now, and comparing how small our group was then, and we were so young and maybe naive or whatever, but like, and to see what we've done in 4 years to grow to, seeing the success of even Marc being able to direct and start winning awards, and people who we didn't think would direct within our friend groups are directing, or it's cool to just see that. And I think it's also cool to see the flexibility of everybody like taking on different hats, like even with Phil, just I know it was more of an homage for him to act, but never in my life did I think I'd see him in front of the camera, and it was kind of cool to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Carlo, like you're coming out like a bat out of hell, man. Like, like I remember watching White Lady and be like, because like Carlo was like he had a very small scene in our film Reverse, right?
Yeah.
And when I saw Carlo, when Marc showed me the first cut of White Lady, I'll say this, I've said it to Carlo many times, but I'm like, and sorry, I do swear a lot, but I was like, you fucking have it, man. I was like,
Thank you, man.
have something. Like there's, when you see like a person who just has that charisma in front of the camera, that character actor, that like, person who can really pull through as a lead. And that's why, like, every time I see him, like, from what the smaller role from Reverse to now, and just growing as not just an actor, but like, producer, director as well, writer, and like, it's cool. Like I see Marc like growing as a director, then I see like Carlo doing that, and it's like it really shows that this community, as diverse as it is, and it really is fighting for the same goal.
And I guess at that point too, Carlo, what do you want? Like, how did you get involved with this as an actor? To like, what did Marc bribe you to do the scary face? But it was a well made, like, it was great watching you act in that film. It was like a good balance of like the horror and the comedy in it. So, do you want to talk to us a little bit about your process, I guess, as an actor as you went through this film?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like Marc and I think, have been talking about working together for a while previous to even the stunt reel. And then once we got to, the idea of White Lady and then sprinkling some Tagalog in there, it was like, it was a no-brainer for me to just be like, yeah, heck yeah, I want to be able to flex Tagalog acting because I never get to do that as a Vancouver actor here. So for us to do it in indie film, I think it was an easy yes for me. It was no convincing from Marc, because it was just like, he wanted to work with me and I wanted to work with him, and then since then we've been working on so many friggin' projects together. But yeah, for upon seeing White Lady from the first like the first revision to then working it on the day and then finding all the stuff, it was just, again, like for me, it being my first running gun, my first real kind of like indie production with like these pros. They actually made my life easier as an actor because I knew that I could count on them. I could count on Marc to direct it, finding what he needs to find, and then him telling me or asking for me to find what I need to do as an actor so that he can get his vision on the screen, right? So I think the theme of this whole thing is just everything was so damn organic that it was like very it's not work. Everybody's on set having fun. We're doing the thing. These guys are writing it, having fun. Marc's behind the lens, having fun with it. We're finding fun moments, comedic moments, and also like the scary moments in the film. So I think it just was like, it was easy. That's literally what all I can say is. And then from there to now, a year and a half later, we're doing everything.
It gets easier and a lot funner.
Yeah.
Even like nowadays, we're just having fun on set. We don't even like last two movies I worked with Carlo. We don't. Our shoots have been pretty short, to be honest. Like we haven't like, but it was like really like creatively satisfying.
Yeah,
for everyone.
I mean, that most recent one, Ding Dong TV, which is still to be released, but like that was so funny for me to experience because, for context for everyone listening, like I was shooting a film that Marc was helping with, and then he just at 5 a.m. sent a message to all of us being like, "Hey, I got a script that you guys want to shoot." And we're like, I guess the funnier part of it is we all replied to him at 5 a.m.
I don't remember you guys replying. All I know is like, I'm just gonna send this. I'm just gonna send this, and then I'm gonna go to sleep.
I think like Phil, Peter, and we all probably read that message, and we're all still up at 5 a.m. But anyway, like he wrote a script in between a shoot and then shot this short film 3-4 days later with Carlo, and it was a day shoot.
Thank God for the location again.
Yeah, the location again came in handy.
Shout out to Polygon.
Shout out to Polygon. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And you guys made a 5-minute film in one day. That's almost
10.5 hours. Yeah.
10.5 hours.
Less than one day for most by film standards. So it's kind of impressive that you guys are able to do that. And I've seen that film.
It needed to be like that though, because the deadline was only like 2 days later, so it needed to be like that.
For that shits and giggles, Marc, you had a pretty epic run. Like, how many films were you involved in during that?
4 films. It's the same as last year as well. 4 films.
That's crazy, right? Like, because like
Carlo acted in 3.
Yeah. Acted in 3.
That's crazy. Yeah. Like that's an epic like Yeah. I mean, like, reverse was something that all four of us were a part of, right? Like,
Yes.
yeah. So, like,
Yeah.
that was something that, like, kind of connected. Like, I mean, I know Marc, like, you and Mick have worked in projects in the past, like, because I remember, like, Mick, you were at Grandma's 80th as well, right?
Yes, that's I
Yeah,
think
I
that might have been
remember.
the first time Mark and I worked together in like a
Yeah,
production designer
Yeah,
DOP.
that was the
yeah,
first
yeah,
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
yeah. I was,
reverse was my first time running into you guys. I know
Mhm.
that's for sure when I first met you, Mick.
Yeah.
And then that's the first time, Mark, I think you were behind the camera for me.
Yeah.
Technically, I guess, you know,
Technically.
that one little I mean, we call it a cameo, I think, that
Yeah.
little part.
Yeah.
But yeah.
yeah. So shout out to that. Like that.
Yeah.
That was kind of something that the four of us kind of shared, like as like I don't know, a project that you know we were all involved in. I mean, like seeing Marc and Mick like in Grandma's 80th, that was like super cool. Shout out to Curtis Lum, who's always like supported like independent film and stuff as well. And
Yeah, shout out
yeah,
to Curtis
yeah,
and
well,
Shout out to
Rare
Curtis.
Spirit,
all four of us accidentally wearing rare spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Accidentally.
Yeah.
that's
Accidentally.
give us money, Rare Spirit.
Yeah. That's right.
This is totally accidental. Now
No,
people
no,
aren't gonna believe us, but like
no.
we legitimately showed up and like three of us at least had our spirit on.
Literally.
Kind of just
It
forced
was funny.
Paolo to
It's
put the
funny
shit
because
they had
I
on.
was the one that wasn't wearing it, and I'm about to be Curtis's best man. So it's kind of like I'm the one who had to get convinced to get the hat. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? I know
Yeah.
Curtis is gonna watch this and be like, but no, like that's really like it's such a cool thing to see like that progress because like White Lady again like such a special project. Like seeing it in like what Carlo was saying. Like that organic feeling of it. Like um because like once it was written and Marc left and I knew that like I couldn't be there on set. There was a sadness for me, but I was it's mentioned like at a wedding that I couldn't get out of, obviously. But knowing that like something beautiful was being created, and I was so honored to just to be a part of that, and seeing it was like there was such a it was so cool because like going back to like just like the independent film stuff, like it's just that creation from nothing, like when like there's literally Mickey said it right in the beginning, like so many things are written that are never made, you know. And as a writer, like just knowing that like, you know, we have an X amount of time, but we know like for me, like knowing that this is actually physically gonna be made, like that Marc is gonna take that home, have the whole army ready to make it happen. And like I can't express how, you know, fortunate I felt and so much gratitude that, for a 6 minute film, it was
Yeah.
just something that was fun, beautiful, and really brought our community something special, and yeah,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
there's a Pinoy pride to it.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah. How about for you, Mark and Carlo? Were there like moments like during making this film that like the good moment? Like, would you guys be willing to share just like one of those moments where you just the good of the making of filmmaking? Because I think, especially I think for
Yeah.
filmmakers, it's always so stressful for everybody, but we sometimes forget about the fun parts too. So what was your moment during White Lady?
Oh, I remember it as a very long shoot. But it was fun. It was a little bit stressful, but I had a real pleasure working with Carlo in that one, because that was like it's been a hot minute since I've directed something um, like that, like a narrative, and he made it easy for me. I had to do some learning, just to kind of like know how to talk to actors and you know being to communicate to them what I kind of want. And but what helped is being open, to suggestions, and the biggest, I guess, the most fun thing was like figuring it out because I wanted to be a comedy, right? So I wanted like physical comedy, um, to be integrated as well. So, there's a part in the movie where without fail always gets people laughing every
That
time.
would be my answer to this question. Is that
Yeah,
was the fun part?
but okay,
Which part is it?
it
Should
would
we
be
do?
like just after, I guess, the second half of the movie, you could say, um, where Carlo does this face where it throws everyone off. I'm like, what the fuck? And then
Yeah,
he
yeah,
does
yeah.
this thing.
The classic.
Yeah. So I don't actually remember actually how we got to there, but I just know that I need you to like freeze and then do this. I can't remember. Do you remember?
I remember sitting leaning on the forklift
Mm-hmm.
and was like, yo, what kind of face do we want for this?
Mm-hmm.
And we were just there and I was just like kind of like giving you different options and then you were just kind of like, yeah, like that. Okay, yeah, yeah, like that. We were just literally finding it in the moment and then we ended up as that. And then we had to shoot it and I had to be frozen. And I remember it being that was probably the toughest part of it was keeping a stupid ass face like this, frozen, not breathing, looking like a dead person, petrified.
Yeah.
But that was it. It was just like we're finding options on the day. How do we find this funny part? And then, man, when I first saw the cut, I freaking died. And everybody who sees this thing, like I've seen this with audience locally. I saw it with an audience in Oregon, and man, that scene kills it every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would have to be my answer. Is finding that specific face, the way it was edited, is just hilarious every time.
Yeah.
Were you channeling a thing, an experience when you made that
I
face?
don't,
Like
I don't, I don't know what I was channeling. I think it was just like, how do I be
10
scared?
C6 in, what's my face after having 10 beers in the C6 or something?
Something, but my face is pretty funny, so just look at it and you'll laugh.
Yeah.
So
You know, it's funny.
I'm gonna get
I
those done
actually
in t-shirts.
that would be funny.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm actually like a big pussy when it comes to horror movies. Like I don't actually watch horror movies. And I'm writing like a feature horror film right now. So when I remember watching it, like Lissa actually scared the shit out of me. Like her scenes, like she was so good at channeling um the white lady. Like I don't know how like, but I've seen it through the reaction of audiences too. Like there was like as much as there was like comedy and like
Mhm.
we call it like in that one scene that we're talking about, like really got that comedy side. There was some real scary sort of moments that Mark was able to capture as well, like the movements of Lisa were so creepy. Like
Yeah.
Mark, you killed that dude. Like that was so like I was like, oh shit! There was a jump scare that got me, and like, yeah,
Yeah, I guess the hardest part of pulling off a horror comedy is exactly that, pulling off a horror comedy. Those are
yeah,
like two different spectrums of like genres that like either you make someone laugh or you scare the shit out of them. So I had to like really think about it a lot in terms of how I was gonna balance it out. But I think I focused on the first half more horror. I lead more towards horror, and then come in with the comedy at the end. So I think it was all an experiment, to be honest. Shout out to Mick, the experiment. Yeah, it was all an experiment. Everything's an experiment for me at the moment. I'm just like trying things. If this works or not. Just like trying any genre and stuff like that. So that was, and surprisingly, it worked, which is great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's a successful experiment. I was trying to rewatch this film last night just as I was prepping for this, and I couldn't because I couldn't get through the first half. Because that bit about when Carlo's character sees Lisa or the
Yeah.
white lady for the first time, and then you see her face. That like quick, it was so quick, but like
Yeah.
it's still stuck in my head, and like I still for the past few days I keep having to look over my shoulders. I'm like, She hears like I feel her, and it's like weird because it's like
It's so funny because every time we go to that warehouse location,
To
and
shoot.
I would always joke around and be like,
Yeah.
Lissa, Lissa, because
Yeah.
that's in the movie, and
Yeah.
they're like, that's Carlos like line every time, like Lissa,
Yeah. Every
just
time.
like trying to scare people. Yeah,
Like the veil and every like the
yeah.
make who did like the makeup was pretty well done for such a short period of time.
I think it was Jessica, the same
yeah,
makeup
Jessica
artist
Kimble.
from Reverse. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Reverse, yeah.
shout out to Jessica because
shout out
like
to Jessica.
yeah, that was scary as fuck. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from what I tried to do with this for like the horror part, I didn't show the white lady not like long takes, very short burst, nothing, because I don't want to. I guess it's part of the whole suspense of it. I don't want to show too much unless you pause it, obviously. But that's not in that's not within my. I can't control that.
Mhm.
But the only time I guess you get to see her face is really at the end. It's at the end of
Totally.
the movie where we
Yeah.
see her face like clearly, but that's by design, I guess, to kind of wrap everything up that she's still there, she's not gone. She's
Yeah,
gonna haunt
yeah.
that place forever.
There
Yeah.
was an there was an edit that you did where she like moves like in a like again spoiler, but there's like a movement where she's like kind of like um
Jittery.
yeah, jittery, yeah. So I was trying to find the word things.
The dolly shot.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like that I think that's what like got me like freaked out the most because it kind of like had like the movement of like a spider almost, like and I think like that
Oh, was that when she was
On the
on all
ground.
fours? Or?
on the fours, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that one. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when she was on like all fours, like kind of like in
Yeah.
attack mode, and that for me was like because of the supernatural, like you don't see a person like all fours like that and moving in such a way, but the way you edited that marker, like the way you captured that feeling from that was very creepy. Like that kind of was like
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't even recommend pausing any of these. Like I tried pausing it to get a screenshot, and it's like, no, I'm good. I'll use a different screenshot for this film.
Yeah, that was Lissa. I love Lissa. She's so great. She just goes for it. Every take is like, oh, she has something new that's added to her performance. I'm like, oh my god, there's so many like different options, and it's such a pleasure working with her. Though I would love to work with her even more in the future. But yeah, and then the capturing of that in all fours. Like me and Peter, I guess we had it was a discovery because there was a shot there where it was like out of focus.
yeah.
So we kind of used both and then played with both, and so that was pretty cool to experiment
Nice.
again. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what for me, just looking at White Lady as a whole, what I thought was really cool about it was that the film could be a film that could be watched by anybody and be appreciated as both a horror and a comedy. Even like the fact of the way you guys added the shovel, which I know was a requirement from Run and Gun, but that like
Yeah.
little bit with the clown and him grabbing the shovel was a great moment where it's like, are we still doing a horror, or is this becoming more of a comedy kind of
Yeah.
aspect? And I think there's so many parts about the film that kind of could be relatable for everybody, but there were also moments that are like very specifically Filipino, like when the
Mhm.
detectives are pointing with their mouths and
Mhm.
the whole
Mhm.
idea of the white ladies. It's like it's cool that you're able to cater to these different audiences, but still keep it, I guess, distinctly Filipino.
I know specifically because I was the guy on screen that after the run and gun screening, and after any screening, people will come up to me and be like, "Oh my God, that was such a good movie." And like non-Filipinos will react this way and respond this way because it is, you're right. It's very like universal. It's horror and it's comedy. And, it's dope that we have all the Filipino aspects, all the Tagalog lines and stuff. But man, like I've had so many people that are non-Filipino come up and be like, "Yo, that was a dope movie." The guy I was sitting beside at the running gun screening was like, "That was my favorite film out of all of these," and I was like, "Wow, that's dope, man!" Like with this white guy, like white couple. I'm like,
Mhm.
thank you, like it was just like, it's different. Because again, right, I'm the face that they see on screen. Like, not a lot of people will come up to the director or the writer because they don't really know who they are, but because my face was so like recognizable, I've had so much. I've only positive feedback from the film, both
I
from
did have a
Filipinos
few
and
of that.
non-Filipinos. Yeah,
People that
Yeah.
come up to me during that night, um, yes, giving
Yeah.
me compliments about the films, which it was a great feeling. I'm like, yo, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Especially like I guess you could say first time directing. That would be my first time in a long time
Nice.
because the last time
yeah.
would be like 2015. So
Yeah. And it led to like, what was it? You got best sound design? Was it?
yes,
For
we
Running Man?
did win best sound design, and we got nominated for like best cinematography, best art, and I think there's one more. I don't remember.
Best film?
No, not best film.
Oh,
No, I think that was it. Yeah, three
yeah.
nominations, and then we won best sound, which was
And
very surprising because I guess it relates to post production. I did all the sound, but then Harley did the music,
Right.
which are our composer Harley Moran, and shout out to Harley, great guy as well, Filipino, really talented filmmaker,
young buck.
young buck. Yeah,
He's just made some pretty good films as well that I've
yes,
seen.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
think
he's
that's
got some film circulating for sure.
yeah. And I think that's what's amazing about White Lady in that sense is that, you didn't have a big team. I'm assuming you didn't have truckloads of gear to create like I think, when
Oh,
you,
that was something from oh no, that was shits and giggles. But yeah, like now it's yeah, like
yeah.
yeah. We didn't have any. We didn't have a lot
And
I
either.
just
literally
think,
was looking at the team photo today, actually.
yeah, it's a very like even if anyone's seen the film, you could see the credits, right? Like
Yeah,
there's usually 30, 40 people in short films even, but this one had maybe less than 20. And to think
Yeah.
a small team with a little bit of gear can pull off a nomination for best cinematography is it really goes to show how talented you and the team were in making
this
this.
is it. Oh, you won't be able to see it. I'll send you the photo.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Too
Yeah,
bright. But yeah,
but
there's not very many.
yeah,
There's a big
usually like
cast.
usually it's like a lot of running guns. These days they go overboard. I feel they do so much just to because it's such a hype event that they want to they want to put out their best foot forward, and a lot of those films that they definitely have like a big team behind them.
yeah.
But and it shows like it's definitely like a big jump in quality. But it's also like very satisfying to like do a film for a small team and just focusing on the craft itself.
Totally.
Yeah,
And the film itself got a pretty good festival run too, I believe, right?
yeah, not
you were
bad.
selected in a few
Yeah.
festivals as well.
Hmm.
Which
Yeah.
which one? I can't remember which ones though.
Oh, the most notable one, I guess, is Disorient um, Asian American Festival of Oregon. I think that's what.
Amazing.
And I went to that screening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had great response to that screening for sure.
Nice.
And it also screened at Chicago Asian American.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's I guess it's their version of an Asian American film festival in Chicago,
Nice.
and yeah, it's screened there as well. And a couple like um,
Couple local hits.
local ones, and some online ones. It's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how everything turned out.
Nice.
I'm very proud of the film.
Did you apply to a lot of festivals or because I know like to
Uh,
people who don't watch a lot of films or don't know this process, it's you have to apply to the festivals to get into it. So it
yeah,
depends.
not too much. Not too much. I'd say like yeah, I probably applied to like maybe 10. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, and
Yeah, it's pretty good ratio.
Yeah, you
yeah,
got into like five at least, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like 50%, which is great. It's not always. It's not always. It's never a guarantee to get in.
No.
Doesn't matter how good you think your film is. It's always up to the programming and what they're looking for. So
Theme, that kind of thing, right?
yeah. So
And like they like the fact that like it was a 48-hour film. Like
Mhm.
those other festivals, they might not know that it was such a quick process that we had
yeah,
to write in an X
That's
amount of
true.
time and film it. Like, so the fact that they got in where other films that maybe took days or weeks or whatever to film,
Yeah.
and here we are, with Marc submitting to this and getting it in.
it's interesting that you bring that up. I always keep forgetting that. I always keep forgetting that we made that in 40 hours. I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't associate that with like, oh, we just made a film, and then I guess we made it in 48 hours, which is
yeah,
pretty impressive, I guess. So
so
like, I gotta remind myself like, oh my god, I shouldn't be like too
Yeah.
like, bummed if I don't get into it here and there, because like we did this for nothing. It's like we totally like just went out and played pretty much.
Yeah.
yeah,
And like you said, it was really just to be able to work on your craft more than anything too.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I think you were able to do that quite well.
Yeah.
So I guess to slowly wrap things up, so between the three of you guys, it's been a year since White Lady already. What are each of you guys working on now?
Oh, okay. Well, recently, we already brushed up on it like a little bit, I guess. We worked on 4 films for shits and giggles, and also like directed my another running gun, which happened in June, with obviously starred Carlo in all of them, which is great. I love Carlo. Carlo's the man, boy.
I love you
uh,
too, bro.
but yeah, that's been my year, and working on like submitting for Crazy Eights and applying for grants, just moving to like next steps, I guess, and starting to write more, I guess, just to work on that muscle. Yeah, because that was I it it's just part of I guess an arsenal that I could pull off from when I'm directing. So it's just another thing for me to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for context, the Shits and Giggles is an offshoot festival of Run and Gun, where instead of having 48 hours to make a film, you have a few months, but you're given a budget and
Limited
equipment
gear. Yeah.
restriction, exactly, where you only have $250 to make the film, aside from insurance and food, and you can only bring as much gear as you could fit into a Toyota Prius. So that's the limitation for that one, instead of 48 hours.
Yeah. I mean, I guess quick. I guess I forgot to mention. I just finished a web series that I directed as well. It's coming out soon, November 1st. The first episode, the pilot. It's a 5-episode comedy that I directed and shot and edited. Pretty much did everything, a lot of the things, except for being on camera.
The
but
Charlie Chaplin of our time here.
but it's coming out soon, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah,
That would be coming out the day we
it's
release
called
this
Woommates. Yeah,
episode. So yeah.
yeah,
What was
very
it
fun.
called?
Woommates.
Where are we able to?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So we will put those links up when we release this episode too.
Paolo, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, no, basically just as of right now, I'm doing some rewrites of feature that I'm working on, that I've been working on for the last little while. The one that actually was about a different Filipino folklore. So
Oh,
it's something that I've been quietly, hiding in the dark, writing and working on. So yeah, that's in regards to film. That's what I'm
nice.
just kicking away on, and yeah, hopefully this next draft will be closer to a shooting draft. So yeah, it's
Can we,
exciting.
can we know which folklore is it? Is it like
Oh
another
yeah, it
lady?
has to do with the folklore of an aswang.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which is like a vampiric sort of child-eating monster. Very disturbing. But this film is something that kind of is rooted from my own personal fears. So there's a lot of stuff in this that, yeah, like I was on a trip to the Philippines and I went to this area that just inspired the whole thing, and I got really scared and I started writing. So
Amazing.
yeah,
Well, we look forward to hearing that one finally
yeah,
gets made.
it scares me writing it. So hopefully it'll translate to scaring other people.
As a big horror fan, I'm excited.
Yeah, as a person who does like horror movies, it's scaring the shit out of me. Every scene, I'm like, oh, that's horrible. I'm not going to be able to sleep. But yeah.
Awesome. Carlo?
And for myself, because I spend time both in front and behind the camera, I've actually got a feature that I'm shooting with another indie team locally here. I think it's more that's more so comedy. I don't know when that'll be coming out, but that'll be a cool couple days. We'll be shooting in Vancouver and in LA for
Nice.
that. That'll be fun. And then I've also got another project in December that I'll be working on directing something that another Filipino story that somebody had approached me to direct. Yeah, I mean, and then again, same with Marc, just kind of like hoping to write more and just kind of like flesh out some of these ideas that are in your head and then just getting it to paper. That's a big win already, right? So, and then of course, I mean, we can't forget about the big wedding film that we're all working on, right? So, yeah, just kind of looking forward to all the things, Filipino or not, right? So,
Yeah, cool. And if anyone's in Vancouver and is not aware, the Shits and Giggles Festival is happening this November as well, because this episode's coming on the 1st. The semifinals finalists of that film, where mine and Marc's film will be at the Rio on November 7th, and I believe the finals where Carlo's two films.
oh yeah, I didn't
the
even
other
mention
two
the three
films.
Bs. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
that one. Yeah, the three Bs that I directed. Jessamyn's film. Yeah, we'll be at the finals with Phil's, which you guys also all worked on.
Works on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that would be on November 12th at the Playhouse.
the Playhouse. Yeah.
So for anyone in Vancouver who don't know and want to come, just check it out. You could go to the SNG Fest. We'll put the link in the description. It sells out pretty fast, so I think it might be sold out by the time we release
But
it.
worth mentioning, anyways.
Worth mentioning. Exactly. Cool. Are there any where can we find you guys? If anyone wants to follow, keep track of your careers and that. Do you want to plug self-plug
Yeah.
self-plug yourselves?
Instagram at MJYUNGCO, MJ Youngco. That's my handle.
At Young Castle Productions, Marc.
Mhm.
That too. Yeah.
I'm at C4CEEFOUR. That's kind of the account in front of the camera, and at Fortin Films, my last name FORTIN Films on Instagram also.
Yeah, and for me, my Instagram handle is just my name. So Paolo, Paolo, Valdez, Valdes, and yeah.
Cool. Yes, if you have any questions about you want to ask for the filmmakers, leave a comment on this video or reach out to them in their social media handles. And if you want to nominate a film for Flavor of the Month for the future, send us a message at We Are Halo Halo. That's WeArehaloHalo on Instagram. And we're actually also, as you probably are watching now, in YouTube. So you can also message us there or leave a comment. If you ever want to watch White Lady and have arrived at our channel, you could find it in our channel under the Flavor of the Month playlist, or you could search up Marc Yanko on YouTube because he would have released the film by then. I'm Mick. Thanks for listening to the first edition of Flavor of the Month by
Thanks,
Halo
Mick.
Productions.
Thank you,
Thanks
Mick.
for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.